Hello, y'all. This video I'm going to talk about what it's like. And what time is it? It's 1:49 p.m. So I'm going to talk about what it's like to have an invisible disability. Well, I have multiple invisible disabilities. Off the surface, as people might see me off first sight, and they probably might think I'm normal. But then after they talk to me or get to know me, or if they see me talking and, if they will bully, harass, and laugh at me and say that I'm mentally slow or that I'm crazy or something's wrong when I have serious mental issues, or if they might think I'm retarded or something like that, But it's really a struggle, excuse me, if people think if you got kind of like, it's like people don't believe or take you seriously when you have so-called invisible disabilities. So I had 2 strokes when I was 5 years old. And I had multiple surgeries. Well, not too many. I had 3 surgeries. And I had some other like medical issues in foster care growing up. And so, like, the so-called mental issues that I have is as a result of being traumatized and being abused and put in a cult, and suffering like severe PTSD, like complex PTSD. And some people like, if I have been like diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder in kindergarten, but then they ruled it out, and so some people think that I'm autistic or they think I'm slow. And I don't have a formal adult diagnosis of whether or not I'm on the spectrum, but a lot of people speculate that I'm on the spectrum. But people who are narcissistic and they're exploitative and they bully and abuse you and make it like as if your disabilities or your ailments is your fault, when it's not your fault. If you've been through trauma, it's not your fault. If you've been forced into a cult as a child, that's not your fault. If you got whatever disabilities, it's not your fault. But they condemn you like as if it is your fault, and they bully you and use that for an excuse to justify hating your guts and being jealous, but thinking that they're better than you. So growing up, I had been diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, Tourette syndrome, generalized anxiety disorder, and major depression. And that all stems from, the narcissistic abuse and trauma growing up. And so online strangers who don't know you but think that they know you from stalking you for years and harassing you, they will falsely smear, campaign, and lie and say that you're schizophrenic and crazy. And even your own family members, when you speak up against their abuse and everything, they'll falsely make it like you're schizophrenic and crazy or whatever. But I have been diagnosed with hyperacusis, which is like hypersensitive ear condition. Excuse me. So that's another, I can't be around noise, and noise hurts my ears. And so it's difficult to have a job. Even like, I just moved into this place, it's the projects, and I can hear the neighbor's TV. So I had to put my earbuds in, and listen to the white noise, in order to try to block it out. But I couldn't do a phone job because of all the noise around me, and a lot of the time they be blasting loud music and doing this and doing that or whatever. And everywhere in public, there's noise everywhere, and they blast loud music in grocery stores, malls, department stores. You know, can't even get peace and quiet riding the bus. In restaurants, they might have loud TV or loud music or both. Laundromats got loud TV. So that's one of the reasons why I can't work a regular job. And then, and so then, like, when you, like when you, with me having this hypersensitive ear problem, you know, people treat me like I come from Mars, and I get extra abuse and extra bullying, you know, and I can't even, it's very difficult trying to work a regular job, and then, you know, to get bullied off the job, and me being a blacklisted, targeted individual anyway, you know. So for me to be blacklisted and targeted and suffering gang stalking and everything, it just makes everything worse. And if you look up eugenics, EUGENICS, you know, it's like they want to exterminate the so-called undesirable human beings who supposedly aren't perfect enough. So they want to get rid of the so-called undesirables. But, you know, people will call me retarded and slow in a minute. In a quick second, they'll call me like mentally off, slow, and retarded or whatever. Or, yeah, this gang stalker online pretending to be a targeted individual. I recently found out yesterday that she called me remedial, which is another name. And she kept on calling me slow and retarded and bullying and picking on me and stuff, you know. And like people will have zero respect for me. I just turned 40 years old, and they still call me girl or little girl, you know, like have zero respect. So like I suffer depression and anxiety, but the main things that get in the way is the OCD and the unwanted intrusive thoughts and the hypersensitive ear condition, and you know, the hypersensitive ears and the OCD and everything, you know. And it's very difficult to and occasionally the Tourette's, because even fake mental health professionals be like, oh yeah, I don't see you with Tourette's. Oh, here go a gang stalker right here. A neighbor. That's the guy that be smoking. I don't know if he smoke weed or if he be smoking cigarettes, but I be smelling both. And I saw him the other day smoking cigarettes. Like it was the day before yesterday, I think it was. So people don't take you seriously when you have, or they have less compassion for you or less support when you have like so-called invisible disabilities, you know. And like they'd be like, oh yeah, I don't see you with Tourette's. But then when I do have a Tourette's episode, they falsely accuse me of faking for attention. Like the abusive narcissistic fake cruelty, even when you do have an obvious disability, you know, crippled up in a wheelchair or blind or deaf or something, they exploit, abuse, and take advantage of that. So today is still Saturday, September 9th, and I don't even know, it sounds like as if they're blasting loud music or creating noise campaign. I can't tell. I thought I just heard somebody pass by with loud bass, but I could be wrong. So thanks for listening to me.